Hello everyone, my name is Barbara D'Aloisio and I'd like to welcome you all to our 99th Novedge webinar series episode. With me today, Aurora Meneghello from the Novedge marketing team and Sergio Gonzalez from GreenButton. Sergio will be showing us how easy it is to access mass compute in the cloud, so to meet tight deadlines and deliver higher quality designs. He will demonstrate this using the V-Ray for 3ds Max plugin, available whenever you need it and wherever you are on demand. For those of you who don't know, Sergio is a solution architect at GreenButton, and here's a nice picture of him. He has worked in the visual effects industry for 7 years and as a digital media educator freelancer for 12 years. Today's presentation is about 40 minutes long, and afterwards we'll have a brief Q&A where Sergio will answer your questions live. Submit yours to us in the chat window anytime. Please don't be shy. And here's where you can find the GreenButton on our website. Just go to www.novedge.com. As one of the largest online design software stores, we offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's need. To learn more about GreenButton and its invaluable tools, you're welcome to call and speak with our specialist, Bob Thayer. You can reach him by his email, bob@novedge.com. Also, you can check GreenButton's own website at www.greenbutton.com. And now this is where I strongly encourage you to visit the Novedge blog to get a glimpse at who is changing the world of design one step at a time. You can meet the innovators, the makers, the architects, the VFX artists who work right on the edge of creativity and technology. Great interviews, great images, and great stories. Come visit us today at blog.novedge.com. And to catch up with the latest product promos and Novedge webinars, like us on Facebook. Become a fan. You're going to love our content. Next week, drum roll, we're very excited to announce our 100th webinar episode. And we're happy to celebrate with Next Limit Technologies and featuring a compelling presentation on one of RealFlow's most powerful feature, RealFlow Graphs. It's going to be a hoot, and all attendees will receive a 20% discount on RealFlow standard license. Head over to novedge.com/webinar series for the most up-to-date schedule. Last but not least, today's webinar is being recorded live. If you want to rewatch episode 99 in its entirety, as always, you can find it on our Novedge webinar series channel through Vimeo and YouTube. And now, finally, we're ready to pass the baton to Sergio, who is going to do his demo and tell us all about this fantastic option that is GreenButton. I'm going to make you presenter right now. Sergio will be able to see your screen, and you will take the lead.
All right, then.
All right. I think.
Let's see.
There you are.
There it is.
Okay, Sergio.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Novedge for hosting this event and for being such a great partner to us as we start this this new endeavor into partnerships with people like Novedge who've been so great to us. My name is Sergio Gonzalez, and I am. Let's see if I can switch slides here. Like you've already heard, I'm with GreenButton. I'm a solution architect for media and entertainment over there at GreenButton. This is my contact information if you need to get a hold of me at any point. I've worked in the feature film industry for about 7 years, and I've been a teacher for Maya and digital media products for quite a long time. So it was really exciting for me to be able to join GreenButton and get involved in what they're doing with these cloud rendering products. And today we're here to talk about V-Ray. And the idea behind this product and all of our render products is that we're giving you, and no matter what size of studio you are, we're giving you access to the same sort of rendering compute power that the big studios have access to. You know, when I was working in those big studios, I had access to these very large render farms where, you know, if we needed to complete some part of our work for dailies and, you know, and it's an hour from now, we can just easily submit that to the local data center on site and be able to get that work out at the door very quickly. So our founder, Scott Houston, has done just that and made that available to everyone through some very easy to use tools. And what I'll do is I'll just talk about a little bit about what our solution is all about. So the V-Ray solution from GreenButton is a 3D Studio Max plugin. It's something that you'll download from our website, and I'll show you where to get that. We also have a tool called Mission Control. Now this is a web-based tool. It's just a web page, and it's where you can manage your render times and observe your render as it is progressing, and see how that impacts on your budgets. And all of this is powered through sort of cloud render credits, which you can get through Novedge, which is what we're very excited to be here talking about today. So let's see what's on the next slide. And now I do the demo. Right, so I'll just exit out of this, and I'm going to switch over. The first thing I feel like I should do is go to greenbutton.com, and I would just like to show you where, now I'm watching my audience view and I'm making sure that this website comes up. There we go. Okay, so this is greenbutton.com. All you have to do is click on the Enabled Apps page here. And as you scroll down, you'll see a number of products that we offer, all of which are powered with the voucher codes that you can buy from Novedge. We'll go into the V-Ray product page here. And there we go, that's switched over. And down at the bottom, once you've started an account and you've logged into your account, there are some tabs down at the bottom where you can download the plugin. It's a very simple process. You download the plugin, you run the installer, and all you have to do, it does work on 3D Studio Max 2014, and it works on 3D Studio Max 2013 as well. Just make sure that you're pointing the installer to the correct 3D Studio Max version folder, and that's all there is to it. Once that is done, we'll switch over to 3D Studio Max now. There we go. So I've created a very simple scene here in 3D Studio Max, and I've turned on a couple of features, you know, a bit of GI, global illumination, and a bit of this and a bit of that. And really what this is about showing you how easy it is to make use of this tool. So after you've installed the plugin and gone and restarted 3D Studio Max, what you can do is you can go to your rendering menu set here. And now I'm mostly a Maya guy, so some Maya terms might sneak into my 3D Studio Max discussion. So, so please forgive me for that. In the rendering setup, we have an entry right here for GreenButton, which is very convenient. And one of the things that I'll do here is I just want to make sure that I've set up my render settings properly. Here we are in our render setup. I have set V-Ray to be my renderer. I'll just scroll down to the bottom to, there we go. Just scroll down to the bottom there to verify that. I have selected V-Ray to be my renderer. And I've gone through the entire process of assigning materials and creating lights, and I have tweaked the materials to look very nice and all of that, and I've done a bunch of test renders locally here as well. And I have a 10-frame animation that I'm going to upload to the cloud now. The reason why I'm doing such a small, simple file here is that it involves this process involves an upload of a file, and that takes a little bit of time. So we intentionally designed very simple scenes here that will upload in a timely fashion, so that way it's not wasting any of your time. So I'm saving my render output to files, so it's going to be a sequence of frames called test frames, and I have set my render range, my frame range, to be from 1 to 10 here. And you can go through, and basically what you can do is you can set up any settings you like. And I'm going to tell you why that we can do that in just a second. So I've set up my render settings here. Now, in my rendering menu set, I'll wait till everyone gets this page. Go to webinar is fantastic. Okay, so I can see that everyone sees this screen now. So I'll click on the GreenButton entry here, and we get the GreenButton V-Ray Cloud Render interface, which is very straightforward. It's a very simple thing to learn, and I think over the next few minutes we're going to pretty much cover everything that you'll need to know for this. The most important thing, of course, is to click on this first tab called Account, and what you're doing here is you're logging in. Before you've downloaded the V-Ray plugin or the 3D Studio Max plugin that we offer, you will have created an account. Mine is demosergio@greenbutton.com. That's what I do all my demos on. So I've entered my password in there, and I will. You click on this button here. It says log in when you haven't logged in yet, and you click on it, and it logs you in. That means that all of your transactions, all of your inputs and outputs into the GreenButton system, it's called Cloud Fabric. Everything that you do with the Cloud Fabric system will be authenticated with your username and password. That means that you are assigned on the GreenButton platform your own storage container where your data lives in that container, and no one else's data will ever touch your data, and vice versa, which is a very useful thing.
Sergio,
Sergio,
sorry to interrupt you. Could you speak a little closer to the microphone? Your voice is coming and going. So.
Uh-oh. How about this?
Okay,
is this all right?
Better.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Great. Sorry about that. So we have some other buttons here, which we'll go into as we need to when we have something to look at. I have a job here that's all set up. It's a render job of 10 frames. And what I want to do is I want to click here on the New Job tab. And it's very simple. What we're doing here, what our developers have created, is something that will inherit the settings that you already have in 3D Studio Max for V-Ray. So we have already detected the fact that you're doing an animated sequence, and we've detected the fact that you've set up frame 1 to 10, and we're going to be rendering in an increments of 1 frame. And of course, we can give the job a name. You can name it whatever you like, but the default value is always the name of the scene file that is saved to your hard drive. Now, the interesting thing here at the bottom, though, is instances. Now, let's talk about what instances are. In the cloud, and one of the terms that we use is instance, and that is one computer that is rendering 1 frame at a time. That's an instance. A virtual machine that is running the standalone version of V-Ray. We're not running 3D Studio Max in the cloud. We're running the standalone version of V-Ray. So what we're going to do is what this plugin will do automatically is export a VR scene. That's a certain file type that Chaos Group has created. We're going to be exporting that, which is the scene definition of what is happening in your scene, and your lights and your cameras and the objects that are inside of it, as well as your materials and the way that everything is set up. We're exporting that, and we're uploading it to the GreenButton system. In addition to that, what we're doing is we have our own job distribution system where we can assign each instance, each computer that is turned on, we're assigning each computer a task that is 1 frame to render. So let's say that you have a deadline, and your frames are taking 20 minutes to render each frame, and you have 500 frames that you need to render. Obviously, this is a big job. If I tried to do that job on my my laptop here in beautiful England, then it would take many hours, and I would not get done in time. So what we're offering here is the chance for you as the user to turn up. Let's say I have 500 frames here. You as the user have the power to turn up 50 machines, up to 50 machines, on your own without even contacting GreenButton for help. Now, what does this mean? This means that you You will not be waiting in a queue. You do not have to pay extra to get access to machines immediately. What will happen is our system will read the fact that you have asked for 50 machines, and it will automatically turn on the machines that are necessary to work on this job. We always have two or three machines running in the cloud at any one time, waiting for jobs to come in, because most jobs that we get in are quick little test renders, and they're not very intensive. They'll take maybe 5 minutes a frame, and the customer doesn't necessarily want to need to turn on more machines for that. But if you have a big job and you need to turn on 50 machines, you have the power to do so right here. If you need more than 50 machines, let's say you need 150 machines, we can do that. We are happy to, all you have to do is contact help@greenbutton.com, and we are happy to spin up those machines for you. Okay, so I'll create my simple 10-frame job again, and we'll notice that here in my instances slider, you can't turn on more instances than you have frames, and I think that's pretty reasonable. Right, so that's all we have to do. Now, one thing that we can do that is an additional help, is that we have an Assets tab. Now, this is a very simple thing. All it is if you have texture files, and if you have assets like particle caches or V-Ray proxies, we might talk about V-Ray proxies a little bit later, that you would like to be included in the upload. We do our best to automatically detect every asset that needs to be uploaded. But for your own peace of mind, if you know that that big HDRI texture is going to be used, if you know those large 4K character textures are going to be used, then you can add files and whole directories to the upload to make sure that those are resident inside of the system. And the benefit also with any of the GreenButton render products is that if you have already uploaded a file, then you do not need to upload it again unless you've changed it. Once you change a file, then the date modified will be different, and we'll consider that a new asset. If you move the location of a file on your computer or on your shared network drive, then that will be considered a new asset because it lives in a different place. So that's one case where you might get some duplicates. But a really good idea is to, as soon as possible, upload those large files that you know you're going to be using, because it will save you some time later on. Also, if the renderer of choice, here it's V-Ray, if the renderer of choice is going to give us some information like errors or any sort of status information, then that will be visible here in the log file. And we're able to save it out to a text file if you like. Right, so here we are. We're back at the New Job tab. And we have everything set up. So I'm just going to, oh, this is what I was going to say earlier. There are always a couple of machines up and running in the cloud for you to work on. But if more machines need to run, so for example, this would be starting up maybe 5 or 6 new machines, it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes for those new machines to start up. So potentially, if you're just doing a simple test render, the job could be finished by the time those machines start up, which only takes 10 to 15 minutes. But it really makes a difference. It's really negligible when you are rendering frames that are 20 minutes to an hour per frame. That 10 to 15 minutes doesn't really make any difference at all. So it's a, there we go, sorry, I'm just reading a message here. Yeah, so then that's a very simple thing to do. So I'll just set this back down to 1 there. I'm going to submit the job. Now when I submit the job, a window is going to pop up. I hope that this comes up. There we go. So we get some check marks, and we're getting step-by-step information of what is happening. The scene is being exported. The job assets are being collected and uploaded. We're verifying that the assets are already in the cloud, and then we submit the job. Now this job has been submitted. That's really all there is to it. That's the entire process. After this, now it's just a matter of checking on your job to make sure that things are running smoothly. I'll press OK here, and we're going to get a window called the job status window. This is something like a dashboard, and what this is a list of all the jobs that I have run so far using this system. I have the ability to go to some account information. I have the ability to click on this and ask for support if needed. And if I click on the name of a job, here I'll click on an older one that I just ran 29 minutes ago, we get thumbnail images of the frames as they are completing. We also, if we click on download result, for example, we have the option to, let's make sure everybody gets this screen. There we go. We have the option to make sure that we save this output folder, which is a zip file containing all the frames and whatever outputs that you have set up. So we can save that wherever we like. I'll just exit that. Any log files are available here as well. And if you want to download individual frames as they complete so that way you can check on them, that's perfectly fine. Here are some frames that have completed. This is the most recent job that I've created. It's about 20% complete. And let's pretend for the sake of argument that I look at this thumbnail image and I say, oh no, I've messed up. I've configured a light incorrectly. I've forgotten to upload a texture and the render is still going. Oh no, I'm spending money. Well, what you can do is you can press cancel and cancel that job and not spend any more money than you have to. And then you can make whatever edits and fixes that you need to, and then very easily restart that job again. Since the scene file has changed, it might require a new export and upload, which is perfectly fine. So you do have that information, that feedback information, coming right back to you, which is a useful thing. Let's see. Right. Are there any questions at this point? Have I missed anything? Let's see. Okay,
No, I
so
think
just move on. I'll close this. Now watch this. I'm going to close this job status window. Don't be afraid. You have not accidentally stopped the render job. Okay. You can always get back to it by going to the Account tab and clicking on My Jobs. Because this job is taking place in the cloud on our system, all you're really doing is seeing a small window into our system to see what is happening. So that's fine. If you accidentally close that window, don't worry about it. You can always go back to it with the My Jobs window. If you need some support, you can always go to the Support tab. Now, the thing that I'd really like to show you here now is something called Mission Control. If you click on Mission Control, I've already got one set up for you. I'll just wait for this to come up. It's very simple. It's just missioncontrol.greenbutton.com, and you're using the same username and password that you would use for logging into our website, and the same username and password that you would use to excuse me, to log into the plugin interface as well. So what we have here is, it looks like a large spreadsheet, and there are a lot of sections here, but you know what? It's actually very simple. This top portion here is a listing of all the jobs that I have run. When you click on that, you get some information down here at the bottom. Tasks for the selected job, it says. So the top is the job dashboard, the bottom is tasks for the selected job. Now we talked about earlier that each rendered frame is a task, right? And it is going to be given to a machine instance to work on. So when I click on one of these, I'll just go over here, I can see details on the right-hand side, much like the channel box or your configuration editors that you can see in your 3D packages. I can see details about the job. You can see details about the settings of each render job as they have been submitted. and how many tasks have been assigned to that job. And since this job is, I'll show you a completed job here. Here's another place down here at the bottom where you can download the outputs of that job. Excuse me. In addition to that, when you click on one of these tasks, even if it is in progress, you can click on the Performance tab, which is in the upper right-hand portion of the tabs of the interface here, and you can see performance graphs. You can see information about the CPU usage. You can see information about the memory and the data I/O. That's files going into and out of the computer system. And that is a really good way to evaluate the performance of your renders as they are progressing. These should be very quick renders, so the charts aren't going to be extremely interesting. But what if I went to, here we go. There's a more interesting chart there. Now, so as the render is running, these charts are going to be created dynamically as there's data to work on. So that's a very useful thing too. If you're a supervisor and you have a group of artists that are working for you and you're on a budget, one of the things that you can do is use this information to communicate with your artists and work with them to say, let's do some optimizations. Let's see where we can make some small edits to get the same quality of look but have a little bit of a quicker render. So this is very useful information in an operational sense to be able to make sure that that you're getting the most for your render budget. At this time, my job is, let's see, I have a number of different frame of render types that I have been doing. So I'm going to go back to my original job that I submitted, and it is already complete. So to download my rendered results, I'm going to minimize this and go right back to my, excuse me, I'm going to go right back to my jobs. Right here in the 3D Studio Max GreenButton interface, I'm going to click on My Jobs, and I'm going to go and find out that, yes, this job was submitted 9 minutes ago, and the status is complete, and I can download my result. And that's really all there is to it. In terms of, now, as things go, as customers come to us, they have more complex jobs than this. So a lot of the questions are, do you support this feature? Do you support, this certain feature that 3D Studio Max does? And one of the things that I'll say is yes and no. I mean, for the most part, we're going to support whatever V-Ray can do. If you're rendering with V-Ray and V-Ray can do, and V-Ray has a setting for it, then we absolutely support it because we are actually running the V-Ray standalone application in the cloud. But if you're using a feature that is very specific to 3D Studio Max, then that would not be a part of the V-Ray standalone application. So that's not necessarily something that we would, that the V-Ray, that actually the product by Chaos Group, the V-Ray standalone, would be able to support. So really any functionality that the hosted program that we are working with is capable of, we're capable of that as well. One of those features is distributed rendering, which is a very exciting product, a very exciting feature that a lot of people ask us about. And what I'd like to do is say, is just put a situation in front of you and say, well, let's say that this is a that this is going to be rendered for a large billboard or a huge sign that's going to be up on the side of a building. Can you break up, can you have multiple machines work on that in a distributed render sort of way? And the answer is yes. If we change our settings from being an animation range to being a single file, and you know you have a very large image to render, then we do have the option to do a distributed render. I'll just go ahead and save this. And then I'm going to open up my GreenButton interface once more. And what we can do is instead of, I'll just make sure that people can see this. What we can do is make sure that instead of using an animated sequence of 10 frames, I'm going to use a distributed still image. So pretend that these settings were really, really massive, 19K by 19K, and I wanted to do a large frame. In this case, we can do clusters. So what this means is that we can get, we have the technology to make several machines work together as one machine, to work together on the same task, to work on one task. And we can assign a number of different machines to do that. Each machine that we're using in the cloud for an animated sequence is an 8-core machine, and it's got 14 gigabytes of RAM on it. In the case of one of these render clusters, we're building them out of 4-core clusters. We're flexible on this. We're building them out of 4-core clusters, and we can do combinations of those instances to make, for example, a 64-core cluster. That would make your rendered image go that much faster. What I've seen one architectural customer do is, because remember, once you set off the job, it takes about 10-15 minutes for those new machines to start up, and then you see very fast results on your renders. So what one of our architectural V-Ray customers does is he'll set up a working session where he knows he's going to do a series of renders, maybe tweaking lights, maybe doing large changes to settings of materials and shaders and things. And he'll start up a 64-core cluster, and he'll start working. And after the 10-15 minutes have passed and these machines are up and running and ready to work on that job, he can get a lot of rendering done, a lot of test rendering done in a short amount of time. And because you're only paying for what you use, you're actually only paying for the completed render time, not for the upload time. The storage cost is worked into the price, and because you're able to do that, he's getting a lot of work done in a short amount of time and for not very much money at all. So that's a really compelling sort of product that we have as well. Let's see, it's 7:34. So that is the majority of the presentation right there. I might go into a few more tips and tricks. Aurora and Barbara, do you feel like I should keep going, or do you think I should stop at this point?
I think you did a great job. I have some questions for you if you are ready to answer them.
Sure, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. The first question is for me. Is this for real? Tell the truth. This sounds really good. I have a lot of artist friends and freelancers that are drooling right now. Anyway, now back to the real questions from our attendees.
Wait, the answer is yes.
Yes.
For real. Okay.
Thank you. I don't know, it looks really good, let me tell you.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 1. What is the path you're saving within the render setup?
What is the path that I'm saving within the render setup?
Yes.
You can choose any folder you like. I am saving, let's see, my render setup here is going to, it's just going to the render output. So I'm using the default project setup of 3D Studio Max. You can customize this to be whatever you like, and when the render is complete and you're downloading your zip file, you have the option to save that to wherever you like. I hope I answered that question properly. I hope I was answering the question that was actually asked.
I have a second question. What are the configurations of these machines?
These are 8-core machines. They are 1.66 gigahertz. They have 14 gigs of RAM. These machines live on the Microsoft Azure data center, so on the windowsazure.com website, they'll have specifications as to what's going on there. As well as we have the ability to upgrade the RAM. We can have 14 or 54 gigabytes of RAM on our machines. So if you have the need to have those higher RAM render nodes, render instances, then please contact us and we can get that set up for you very quickly.
That's great. Also, there's Sean that compliments you for the great demo, so you should be very proud. And he has a question. His question is the following. Is it possible to render the separate passes with V-Ray plus GreenButton? For example, rendering separate shadow, depth, and specular passes?
Yes. Yes, the answer is yes. That is absolutely possible if you want to do render elements, if you want to save out the renders to save out each channel as its own image, that's perfectly fine. What we do is the way that our system Cloud Fabric works is that we have a list of possible outputs that any of the hosted applications will save out, and then we present those all. We deliver all of those back to you as just as a big zip file, which you can download. So yes, absolutely. If you want to do arbitrary output variables and save out different file types as well, then that's perfectly fine. We'll be able to support whatever V-Ray supports.
Great. Another question. How much does it cost?
Okay. I wonder if I should have Allison answer that question or if I should just answer it.
Sure.
Is Allison here? Okay.
Would you like me to answer the question?
Hi,
yeah,
Allison.
go ahead if you want to.
Hi, I didn't know if I was on audio or not, so I just wanted to...
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Allison. Allison Hubbard is the business mind behind this. I'm the technical mind behind this, and she answers questions about money. I answer questions about technical aspects. So please welcome Allison to the show.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Sergio. And certainly Sergio is perfectly capable of answering this question. But I'll just comment again. The great news is that Novedge is, as we've talked about, introducing today the ability to purchase really any increments of vouchers to give you cloud rendering time. Typically, the list pricing for GreenButton rendering solutions is 40 cents per core hour. Now, the great thing that I'm going to repeat, because Sergio said it earlier, is that you are not paying for prioritization. You are not paying for additional machines that you may use because of deadlines that you have. You are not paying for upload time. The 40 cents per core hour is specifically and only based on your render time, your processing time in the cloud. So it's as simple as that. The pricing only goes up in the case of using higher RAM machines. So Sergio previously mentioned that the base machines are 14 gig RAM machines in the cloud. If you need to use 54 gig RAM machines, then it's 55 cents per core hour. But there's nothing more to it. Your pricing is very specifically based on your processing time. If you have a very, very large job, then we can have a custom conversation around volume pricing together with Novedge and the GreenButton team. But hopefully that helps to answer your question.
And if I may jump in there, this is Laura, I'm the marketing manager here at Novedge. So Novedge, basically what you like are vouchers. As I think Sergio went over this a little bit at the beginning, and we sell them worldwide, so it doesn't matter where you are. It's a digital delivery. There's zero sales tax if you're here in the United States, and there's also a little bit of a discount. So you can get a $100 voucher for $95, or a $1,000 voucher for $959, and so on. So check out our website. Barbara will remind you about this at the end of the program, and then you can see all the voucher amounts that we offer.
I'll just add to that, just to reinforce what you just said here about the vouchers. When you're on greenbutton.com, and thank you, Allison, for helping with that. I'll just add to that. You know, if you're on GreenButton.com and you're logged in, if you click on account, you'll be able to see the job history dashboard, and this is everything that you've run in the cloud so far. You know, in order to run jobs, you need funds in your account. Here I've got $21, so I'm about ready to get my next voucher from Novedge because I'm going to need to go and top up pretty soon. And when I'm ready to add funds, I've got a menu option right here. I can click on Add Funds. There are different ways to do it, but the way that we want to, I'll just scroll down here, the way I want to promote today is this voucher top-up. Now the code that you get from Novedge is going to be entered right here, and as soon as you enter that in, it's a unique code that is tailored just to you that Novedge is able to distribute to you. You click on Process Voucher, and that will automatically credit those funds to your account. So just so you know how to top up your account using Novedge vouchers, it's just as easy as that. You can think of it as a prepay phone. You can think of it as a as any of these stored value cards that you can go to the store and buy, and it's really that easy.
One thing I'll just add real quickly, Sergio, is if you do happen to work for a large firm and there are different groups doing different projects with different budgets on those projects, then it's a perfect opportunity to have the person who owns the overall budget purchase a number of vouchers from Novedge, and each business group will be assigned their specific budget and ultimately be able to put their voucher into the system and work independently of one another. And everybody will have their own view into their project and their budgets within the mission control dashboard that Sergio showed, and so on.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's actually it's a very simple system, but it's a very flexible system. Along the same lines, let's say that you're at a university and you're an architectural student, or you're in an animation program, and the same way that you can make an arrangement with an organization to buy internet bandwidth credits or printer credits at a school, the same thing can be done with Cloud Render credits. So that's another really good use for the Novedge vouchers that you can purchase.
That sounds great. Sergio, I have another question.
That was a very thorough answer to that question.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I have no doubt what to do now. I have another question. So when I download the render frames, are the files being unzipped to the same path, or is just the folder that is labeled according according to the render scene file name?
Oh, right. We're constantly making upgrades to how the system works. At the moment, it's going to say output.zip, and we will soon have that rendered that zip file be the scene name of what you just or the job name of what you just ran in the cloud. As far as the path to and the folder to where it gets saved to, again, you have the option to save that wherever you like. I think it'll be it'll probably default to the last folder that you opened up because it's using your operating system's file system. So so it may not necessarily automatically go to your rendered image desired folder, but you do have the option to put it wherever you like. It's not going to just drop it somewhere where you don't have the knowledge of where that is.
Thank you, Sergio. I know also you explained this quickly at the beginning. You showed us, but I want to ask you, so to be clear, are there any other renderers that I can access with my Novedge voucher codes? I know there's a list.
There is a list. Yep, we can go to the enabled apps page.
Yes, that would be great.
GreenButton is the exclusive provider of Pixar's RenderMan on Demand. And your Novedge credits will go right to that, which will enable you to do rendering from Pixar's product as well as the fact is something that we're very happy to announce today, and you people are the first to hear it. We support Mental right now, and we're very excited about this. We have an agreement with NVIDIA where we are allowed to run, just in the same way that we run V-Ray standalone in the cloud, we can run Mental Ray standalone in the cloud.
Wow,
So
this is a scoop.
This is a scoop. No one else
Breaking news.
has said this. This is the first time anyone says it out loud in public.
Breaking news on the 99th.
That's right. That's right. You don't need to be the 100th podcast, the 100th webinar to make news anymore. But that's the flexibility of our system here is that our system is based on this idea of cloud fabric, which means that, and that is the billing tools, that's the job distribution, that's everything where, you know, one of the first products that we enabled was Blender, which is a free product. But let's say that you want to do some rendering in Blender. We've actually done a, we're actually continuing to do wrap-up shots on a fully rendered CG feature animation called Pepito, and out of Mexico City. And it was completely done in Blender. This team does not have any render infrastructure in-house at all. And they've got their management tools, and we've got a plugin right inside of Blender. So with your Novedge account, with your Novedge vouchers that you use to top up your GreenButton account, you have the flexibility to render with any of these products. In addition to other products that we offer as well, but the ones we're really excited about right now is definitely the Mental Ray announcement that we just went public with today, right in this webinar, and as well as our wonderful partners at Pixar to do RenderMan on Demand, and our fantastic partners at Chaos Group as well, who do V-Ray, and the Blender Foundation has just been really great to us as well. So all of those products are available to you. You can render with any of those using the Novedge vouchers that you purchase.
Sergio, can I ask you one last question from the audience?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say you have a job, but you don't know how long it's going to take using GreenButton. And as a result, you can't predict the cost. So is there a way to send a test frame to see how long one frame can take so that you can estimate the cost of submitting the whole job?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that because
that's great.
Because we talked about account management a little bit, and this goes to some of the tips and tricks I wanted to talk about. I'll just flip back to this screen here.
And stay close to your microphone, please, Sergio.
I'm sorry, am I dropping out again?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So getting the most out of this. The first thing you should do, if you're just starting with this, you've just downloaded the plugin, and you're starting to do some renders, set your frame range to something small, 2 frames, 5 frames, something representative of what your job is going to look like in terms of the most intensive frames. And so that way you can do a small job and get an idea of the overall render time per frame, and then you can do a simple calculation. We actually have a spreadsheet that we can help you do this calculation with. Excuse me. And you'll be able to get a very good idea of what your total expense is going to be at that point. Now, the first instinct that a lot of people do is they say, I'm in a hurry, I have a big deadline, it's due tomorrow, so I'm going to submit all 500 frames in this first job. This happens almost every weekend at 5 o'clock on Friday. And what I would like you to maybe consider is to start before as early as possible and submit maybe 2 or 3 frames. So that way you can get a good idea of how long these things are going to take, especially at HD resolutions and with top quality renders and all of this sort of thing and ray tracing. Let's get a good sense of that. Another thing is start as early as possible. I know very well, just as you professionals do out there, that deadlines happen and they creep up on us, and you want the best quality you can possibly deliver, so you need to work until need to work as long as possible, so that way you can maintain that quality throughout the project. But since that is the case, I definitely invite you to contact us at sales@greenbutton.com, and let's get started. Let's start that process. Let's find out what aspects of this rendering technology will best suit your needs. Don't forget to use those asset tools to sync up anything you feel is important. Those HDR files, those large textures, any of those things that you feel, those proxy files, anything you feel is going to be important to your render. Try and upload those before you need to. And also stay up to date on your V-Ray updates. We have, we're pretty good about keeping up to date with the nightly builds of V-Ray's standalone renderer. But if if you have a slightly older installation, then some aspect that has been fixed and addressed already might come to visit you that that we can head off on the pass by just staying up to date on our updates. And there you go. Yes, please do send small jobs first.
Fantastic. One of the attendees is asking, I understood that the V-Ray 3 will be released at the end of January. When will you support this version? Right away, or there's a delay?
The only delay will be in the time it takes for us to download it. Installing the new version to our system will not be a huge time-consuming thing. We do like to take a few days to just test things out. If you're someone who would like to be one of those testers, then please contact us. We love having people work with us and do pre-release testing to make sure that the system is to the standard that we want. We will be supporting V-Ray 3 when it releases, and it will be within a couple of weeks. I don't see any reason why it should take longer than 2-3 weeks to get that up and running. It's a matter of updating our virtual hard drives that are installed to the render instances and doing a bit of testing to make sure that we can reach the level of quality that we like.
That sounds really reasonable. Wow. This is, I think, the final question. What plugins do you support for 3ds Max? And are plugins such Fume FX handled by GreenButton?
Okay, so in terms of plugins for 3D Studio Max, what I will sort of default to is the idea that what we're doing, and what we're doing is we are exporting a data set, and we are using a translator that that Chaos Group provides that converts your scene to a VR scene. So in terms of, so for example, here's a plugin here called Multiscatter, and this one I'm just looking at a website called vray.com. We have information here right at the bottom that we can support the outputs that V-Ray requires. We can save out proxy images, proxy geometry as V-Ray proxies instead of someone else's sort of proxy format. So in the case where, so that's a long way to answer, it depends. If the certain plugin is able to support, if it's a scatter, like a forest generating type of thing, and if it's able to support V-Ray proxies, then yes, it's going to work. But if something like Fume FX, we haven't tried that one, and we'd love for you to try it, and we would even be willing to incentivize that for to a small degree. So there are a lot of plugins out there, and not necessarily every aspect of those plugins is going to be exported faithfully by the VR scene exporter. We do want to hear your feedback about what exports and what doesn't, and help@greenbutton.com is the way to get technical support, and we would love to discuss that with you further. And since it is such an easy process, then we feel like it can be an easy way for you to investigate this cloud rendering technology.
Well, it's great that feedback is always welcome. That's a good way to work and improve on both sides.
Yeah, we love feedback, so please send as much as possible.
Great. I have one more question, I swear. If you're running SolidWorks to optimize your V-Ray settings, will it be a problem when submitting a job?
It depends on which program is doing the output to the VR scene. I'm not exactly sure that I understand the workflow that this person is referencing, but if SolidWorks is, if your final output to the VR scene is actually coming from SolidWorks, then that's not necessarily a workflow that we support just yet. If the SolidWorks is doing its process and then sending data back into 3D Studio Max in order to then submit the render and do the export from 3D Studio Max, then that's definitely something that should be fine. One of the things that I will say is that products like SolidWorks and products like Maya that also do V-Ray, these products are definitely something that we're going to support in the near future.
Sergio, can you make sure the microphone is now moving and close to your lips?
Hello, can you hear me?
Great
okay,
now.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I was looking away at someone who was waving at me. We do intend to support other packages than 3D Studio Max for V-Ray. With our Mental Ray product, we support just about everything because we're doing a slightly different workflow. For V-Ray, at the moment it's 3D Studio Max. We intend to add Maya support in the very near future. And if you would like to talk about SolidWorks producing a VR scene, then please contact us at sales@greenbutton.com. Hello?
Oh, sorry, Sergio.
Barbara, yeah. I'm gonna jump in for a second here because I want to make sure before we wrap this up that Sergio, you don't have anything else you want to add, or this has been so helpful and so informative. So if there's anything else you want to say, this would be the time.
No, I just want to say thank you for hosting this, and thank you to all of you people who have attended, and we hope to hear from you soon. The plugin is available from our website as soon as you make an account, so you don't even have to wait for a sales call from us to try it. But if you want to drop us a line and start the conversation about business stuff or technical stuff, just let us know and we're happy to help you. And thanks everyone for being here today.
Thank you, Sergio. This is very exciting. I hope everybody's as excited as we are in Novedge. Great job. I'll say goodbye to you and Alison. I'll switch back to me as presenter, and then I'll wrap up this webinar, and we'll say goodbye at the end. Okay?
All right.
All right. All right. I'm sure you can see my screen now. Here we are. Okay, well, thank you so much for attending this webinar. As I said, you can find GreenButton on our Novedge website at www.novedge.com. And also, you can go visit GreenButton's own website at www.greenbutton.com, but stop by Novedge first to get the voucher, and it is on sale. So it's an easy step, 1 and 2. Last but not least, I want to remind you about our exciting 100th webinar with real flows, and we're very excited to have Next Limit Technologies with us, and it's going to be fantastic. All the attendees will receive a 20% discount on RealFlow 2013 standard license. and we'll have fireworks of some sort, if not the real ones. It's a promise. I'll still remind you that today's webinar is being recorded live, so if you want to rewatch it at your time, at ease, whenever you want, on demand, you can always find it on our Novedge webinar series channel on Vimeo and YouTube. Thank you for joining us today. You can also join our great communities on the social media, Novedge, on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Visit our blog. It's great. There's a lot of interesting artists and personalities that we interview, and it's becoming more and more popular. So you will know what you missed till you go there and read our interviews. Thank you so much to all of you guys, and hope to see you for our 1000th webinar. It's a promise. Okay, Sergio? Okay, I think they left.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll be back for webinar number 1000.
Okay, it's on. Okay, guys, see you next week, and it's been great. Have a great evening and a great rest of the day. Thank you for the Novedge team. Bye.